Gaming in 2015 had its high points and low points, but for me, it was great. Ace Attorney consumed a lot of my time in the first 2 months, but I was still able to play a hell of a lot more games as the year went on. And I played so many games that top 10 just wouldn't be enough. So yeah, top 15 it is. These kinds of lists are everywhere nowadays, so you probably already know the rules. But just to be safe, I'll give a quick overview. A game didn't have to come out in 2015 for it to make the list, I just had to play it for the first time. Since my gaming palette was expanded quite a bit last year, candidates for this list will run the gambit from well-known franchises to obscure indie games. Also, I'm sorry to all the games I didn't put enough time to justify a spot on the list. Well, let's get right to it. Time to do the thing. Starting off, we have one of the stranger games that I've played. This is the Stanley Parable. It's the story of a man named Stanley, and depending on how you interpret the game, it can be one of your favorites or a total oddity. I lean more towards the latter, but that didn't stop me from liking the game. As you take control of Stanley, who has curiously found those office mates to be missing, you'll be accompanied by the narrator. He's set up a nice little story that'll make you feel good inside, but sometimes you've just gotta make some choices. Disobeying the narrator leads to various endings, which can range from entertaining to sad to just surreal. Yeah, this game is confusing, but not in a bad way that stems from gameplay or story. It just really makes you think. I'd say that I liked it more as an experience than a game, given that it's only number 15, but maybe I just need to dive a little deeper. One thing I certainly will praise about it though is the writing. Listening to everything the narrator has to say, whether he's doing his job or directly talking to Stanley, is probably my favorite part of the game. Especially the lounge bit, because, well...
Yes, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it. At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left. Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Davey Rendon, you've made a good game here. Now I just need to get into the beginner's guide, I think. So, who's excited for Fire Emblem Fates? Nintendo clearly noticed the Fire Emblem hype train, just look at Smash, so in between Awakening and Fates, they've been releasing older games in the eShop. I ended up getting one of those games, and that was Fire Emblem Blazing Sword, aka 7, and Rekken no Ken, and just Fire Emblem. But yeah, let's just stick with Blazing Sword for now. While this game might not have blown me away nearly as much as Awakening did, it still holds up well for a game that was released over a decade ago. It has fun mechanics like ballistas and arenas, as well as some like Poison and Fog that made me plan every move more carefully. And of course, with every unit always under the threat of permadeath, I didn't want anyone to die. The game doesn't think that though, and it takes every chance it gets to kill your units. Oh, so you felt the need to kill someone important when I was 20 minutes into the chapter? That's fine. Just fine. But in all honesty, the gameplay was the best part of Blazing Sword. Sure, it has charming GBA presentation, especially those critical hit animations, but the story and characters are... The story itself is actually pretty good, full of plenty of twists and turns, but the characters drag it down a bit. Aside from a select few, most characters don't do much outside of their first appearance, and I never really grew attached to many of them. Except for Becca, because she was a force of nature on the battlefield. And supports? Oh boy, have fun trying to get those. At least there's a good bunch of villains. I guess that's some compensation. While Blazing Sword certainly has its faults, it's still a fun game, and held me over while the clock ticks down to Fates. Just one tip if you want to play it. Abuse those virtual console restore points, or you might get a tad bit furious at the game. With people making their own levels and games being all the rage these days, what are those big name developers gonna do? Well, how about shove it down everyone's throats they'll be releasing an official level creator of one of the biggest gaming franchises ever. Yeah, that might work. Nintendo didn't want anyone to forget that they were making Mario Maker, but once I was able to swallow the whole package, it tasted pretty good. That analogy made sense once. Point is, Mario Maker is fun. I may not be able to create expansive levels, but I'm content with making my own small ones and seeing what others have made. Sure, the course world may be filled with an endless amount of auto levels, but there's plenty of gems to be found. And you know, levels that make you wish slow and painful death onto their creators. The selection of tools you have to choose from may be a bit incomplete, but there's still plenty of levels to be made. Plus, in addition to all the classic parts of any Mario games, Nintendo added a few more things to make Mario Maker fresh. It's got new power-ups, amiibo costumes, the incredibly random and trippy effects, and tons of ways to manipulate the levels to make them just how you want. Still could use some slopes though. Mario Maker is a game that you're really need to put a lot of time into to enjoy, which is why it's lower on the list. Even though I've hardly had it a month, I'm having fun so far, and hope to put a lot of time into it over the course of 2016. But for now, I'm just gonna plug my levels right here. Over the past few years, Kirby has risen up among my favorite franchises. There's just something about a little pink puffball that mercilessly swallows innocent creatures that just screams appealing. I didn't pick up this year's Kirby game, Rainbow Curse, but I did get my hands on something else. That something being Kirby Triple Deluxe. Ooh boy, was this a fun time. Triple Deluxe not only uses the classic Kirby formula well, but it also introduces new elements that fit in great with the old. For one thing, the new copy abilities are all fun to mess around with. Circus and Bell have their uses and certainly have visual appeal. Beetle's raw power is incredibly satisfying to kill enemies with, and Archer? That one's like everything you could ever ask for in a copy ability. But there is one more special one, that being the amazing super ability Hypernova, because Kirby couldn't eat enough already. Despite its simple concept, Hypernova became my favorite Kirby ability, even if it is only temporary. There's just something about using Kirby's most basic power for puzzles or to wipe out a whole bunch of enemies that just puts a smile on my face. Being a 3DS game, there was bound to be some sort of dimensional gimmick implemented, but lo and behold, it's actually kind of fun. Triple Deluxe's multiple planes may not revolutionize gaming, but they certainly make for good levels. Oh, and the new extra modes GDD's Drum Dash and Kirby Fighters, they're good too. Of course, the game also boasts a great soundtrack, nice visuals, good level design, and fun bosses. For the most part. Oh, and a mass DDD fight with a remix makes everything 100 times better, so, yee. Okay, you know what? Plague of Shadows may have been an expansion, but it delivered. Taking control of the lovable alchemist Plague Knight, you once again traverse the land of whatever you want to call it, this time armed with enough explosions to make Michael Bay jealous. Helping out along the way are characters like Percy, Baz, and the Magicist. And then there's Mona. And then there's her relationship with Plague Knight. I just want to ship it all day long. As for gameplay, Plague of Shadows takes Shovel Knight's formula and flips it, something that Countdown Black covered a few months back. Now, instead of getting meal tickets to upgrade your health or spending cash for more magic, there's regenerating arcana meter that can be extended, potions for temporary health bonus, and lots and lots and lots of upgrades. Given that there's so many kinds of bombs for you to play around with, you're bound to find a combination that suits you, whether it allows for movement, defense, strategy, or power. Plus, in place of the relics, which are just tradable garbage now, there's a whole new set of tools that can be used to help in platforming and combat. While many of the mechanics are great, some of them just really make me want to die inside. For one thing, Plague Knight can be very hard to control, whether it's due to his slippery movement, small jumps, or the burst jump, an important move that can be difficult to master. Intentional or not, these controls sent me into many bottomless pits, something I can't exactly overlook. And while the levels have become much more challenging, the boss has suffered a pretty big hit. Due to the way that Plague Knight moves through the air, it's very easy to deal out damage, making once challenging fights incredibly short. These things don't detract from the quality of the game in the slightest, but it can be hard to enjoy something when I die a dozen times in a single part in a single area. At least there's always triple worlds to relax to. Gel Club, you made a great expansion here, and the fact that there's more in the way fills me with excitement. No matter how much I suck at Shovel Knight, I'm sure I'll have fun. If you haven't noticed by now, I really got into Ace Attorney last year, as in, my new second favorite gaming franchise got into. This won't be the last time on the list I'll bring up this series, but for now, let's look at that freaking crossover! Why do they not make more crossovers like this? Layton vs. Bright sees the protagonists from both series trapped in the mysterious town of Labyrinthia, a land of magic, witches, night, and a whole bunch of other medieval stuff. There's some weird stuff going on here, courtesy of the central characters Darkfawn the Storyteller, but I won't get into those too much for the sake of spoilers. The gameplay here is split between Layton and Wright, with a bit of bias towards the former. In the Layton style, you go around talking to characters, finding hint coins, and solving puzzles, as you do. Simple as the puzzles may have been, most of them are quite enjoyable, and my favorites are flashing across the screen right now. But can I ask why puzzles are such an integral part of labyrinthian culture? Like, these guys are a bit obsessive over them. Meanwhile, the Ace Attorney style has you reading through testimonies, presenting evidence, solving crimes, and pressing more witnesses than you could ever ask for. The game also throws in some new mechanics like the multiple witness testimonies, which can lead to some hilarious interactions between the characters. As is the norm for these series, the writing is top-notch, with plenty of great lines, well-designed characters, and a complex but engaging story with plenty of twists and turns. And, music. That's some pretty good stuff. There's plenty of great pieces, from the intense to the tragic to the suspenseful, and it's just as good as any other Ace Attorney soundtrack. While the game may be good as a whole, it's not that great of an Ace Attorney game, or, from what I've heard, a Layton game. In fact, I'd say that for me personally, it ranks just above Investigations, but at least it's gotten me interested in Professor Layton. Even if splitting it up reveals it to be a bit lacking, Professor Layton vs. Phoenix Wright is a brilliant game that fans of either series are bound to enjoy. My visit to Labyrinthia was certainly a memorable one. So, Monster Hunter. Yeah, I had an interesting ride with this one. It's packed to the brim with all sorts of features that I love, yet there are times when it just loves to anger me to no end. Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate is not a game for everyone. It's a smooth learning curve at the beginning quickly becomes a series of steep treks of fighting and grinding that can drive many people away. But those who stick around will be glad they stayed, as this game is incredibly rewarding for your efforts. With a large variety of weapons to choose from, there's plenty of ways to play, from the powerful greatsword to the long-range guns to my personal favorite, the speedy dual blades. Weapons in hand, you can travel throughout stunning environments, fighting both the elements and, of course, the game's main draw, ferocious monsters. There's over 50 large monsters, most of which are a blast to fight, especially once you've learned them inside and out. The grinding for parts to make new armor and weapons may be tedious at points, but I'll gladly take any chance to fight some of these awesome bosses as many times as I want. And I say some because there's a select few that I really just can't stand. Darn gross. People tend to turn away from 3 Ultimate because of the water combat, but I honestly grew to really enjoy it. There's just something about fighting large beasts in the water that makes me really like the combat, at least most of the time. Not only are these monsters really fun to fight, but they also happen to look incredibly cool. I mean, the Barioth, the Ignactor, the Lagiacrus, the freaking Elder Dragons. These are some of the most majestic beasts I've ever seen in gaming. Well, we also have the Nebelsnarf. He's a wee bit ugly. I may have only put 40 hours into this game over the course of the year, and haven't gotten many chances to really get into the multiplayer, but I think it'll continue to entertain me throughout 2016. At least until we get Cross.